That's the only reason I actually knew that I was going to land it, is because it hit me in the face.
What's up? I'm Andy Buckworth. This is Ryan Williams. We are on the bus, and we're going to check out some of Ryan's clips over the last 15 years of Nitro Circus, and we're going to react to them. Dude, I remember this.
So do I, really well. It was like the change of my career, the trajectory.
Tell us more. Like, what happened on that day?
So that was literally the first show I've ever been a part of in Nitro Circus. I think I was like 17 years old. I had to get school off to go do it. But I remember I tried to do a double fronty in practice. I tried like twice and I crashed and everyone was watching. And then I think they just closed practice. We couldn't do any more. And they're like, you're going to get another shot in the show. Obviously, I was so nervous. I had my dad's side of the family there. Travis Pastrana was there, all the yous were there, like people I look up to. And I remember I just dropped in during the show and somehow managed to land the world's first double fronty on scooter. And I feel like from then on, I was just on Nitro Circus. And yeah, it's pretty much, I feel like that kickstarted my career.
I remember that being such a crazy day for Nitro Circus. It rained 2 whole days straight.
Yeah.
Floor was wet, the grass was wet. We didn't think we were gonna get a show away. And, you know, it was your first show and no practice, well, very limited practice, obviously. And then seeing you do that, and I was on tour doing double front flips on bike, and seeing you do that on a scooter was pretty extreme. I thought that was really rad.
Show, I somehow managed to forget to put my helmet on, and I ended up doing the tandem scooter without a helmet, and I nearly died.
And so what is your punishment today?
My punishment is to wear my helmet all day long.
So that you never forget to?
Not put it on again.
Good boy.
So you're telling me you made it all the way to the top of the ramp with no helmet. Your mind was somewhere else. What was going on with that?
I think I was just so worried about jumping the tandem scooter. It's kind of like, it used to be the most terrifying thing I did. And it's funny that the most terrifying thing I forgot to wear my helmet on, but I just feel like I must have ran up there. I had a bodysuit on, all things, but I forgot my helmet. And then, I don't know, I just kind of jumped. I didn't even know I didn't have a helmet on until after I landed and people were like, go like this. And I'm like, what's going on? And it was like, I didn't have a helmet on.
So you say that with all the crazy tricks you did back then and do now, the tandem scooter's the craziest thing?
Yeah, because you're like riding with someone else and when they lean left, it like throws you left. Or if you lean right, it throws them right. And it's just so hard to go off at the same like trajectory. So I feel like it was the hardest thing I used to do in the show. So it's kind of funny I forgot to wear my helmet. But then they made me wear my helmet the next day, which I didn't even really care. I think I like wearing my helmet that way.
I mean, we see Brady Baker now. He never takes his helmet off. He puts it over at the start of the day. It's on until we go to bed. So, I mean, he wouldn't even see that as punishment.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if we brought the tandem scooter back now, would you think you'd do it?
100%. With you.
You do it, me?
You gotta wait for this bit. This is my favorite bit. So celebration, and then Mini Ahmada's gonna kick me in the nuts right now. There it is. It's probably the hardest I've ever been kicked in the nuts before in my life.
Damn. So that was the first ever, which is now being called double cash roll. Did you have a different name for it back then?
I mean, I called it the double front foot 360 because that's kind of like what I was trying. But I think after I landed it, Travis Pastrana was like, hey, let's call it the Silly Willy. And I get it, like it's just a silly, it kind of is just, back then when I did it, it was just like silly that I could even do it, I think.
Yeah.
So he called it the Silly Willy, and if Travis calls something, name's a trick for you, you just stick with it. So I kind of
perfectly understandable.
Stuck with that, and then I did it on BMX and stuff. So I mean, when I did post it to my Instagram and stuff, I just put double front flip 360, but I think everyone kind of knows it as Silly Willy.
So people definitely did adopt it as Silly Willy.
Yeah.
Did that name transition into the BMX world as well?
I think the people that knew I did on scooter and named it that, then they were like, whoa, you did Silly Willy on BMX. But it's definitely harder than what the name makes it sound like.
Yeah, definitely. In the more recent times, another BMX rider, Caden Stone, has now landed it. Do you think he's going to call it the Silly Willy, or will it forever in his mind be the double cash roll?
I think double cash roll sounds cooler. So he'd probably call it double cash roll, but as long as he says that I didn't.
I kind of want it to transcend as the Silly Willy.
Well, and that's a good. If you feel like you could call it Silly Willy, you can call it whatever you want, mate. You can call it a double front flip 360 is what I call it, but keep it.
Same trick, 3 different names. I'm going to go with Silly Willy.
All right, deal. it's so funny that back then was like, I don't even know how long ago this was, but maybe it was what, 6 or 7 years ago or something.
For me, I think that trick was kind of the turning point in your BMX career. That was kind of like when you were transitioning from just a scooter rider to a BMX scooter rider. But that trick, for me, definitely put your name on the map. You won your first World Games with that, and then you won your first Gold Medal X Games with that. So what's it called?
A nothing front bike flip. I feel like
That's what it's called?
this is the one this is the trick I should have named, because I feel like more people are doing this trick. I should have named this the Silly Willy. But no, it's just a nothing front bike flip. It's cool to see people take it though to the next level. Like you got J2E, he has the 2E twister or whatever he's like to call it on tour. But he does like tricks out into it and out of it. Logan Martin's taken to the Olympics, won a gold medal with it.
We are bringing Nitro Circus back down under. It's gonna be one show.
All right, Ryan Williams, he took the top spot.
1080 front flip. How do you do that?
2016, 1080 fronty, let's go.
At this point, when you were doing all these pioneering all these tricks, doing all these world firsts, all these things that BMX had never seen anything like it, I remember thinking like, that's the future right there. I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep up. But absolutely dominating. Like that, back then it didn't make sense to anybody. You were just the only one figuring out those rotations.
Yeah, but I feel like there's so many different ways to ride a BMX bike, and I just try to show people that. My goal was always just to follow like what my mind thought to do. It wasn't about just adding another bar spin or another tail whip. But I ended up just adding another spin, and obviously that was pretty cool. But then it was like with the nothing front bike flip, I felt like that was just something totally different, and now people could add on to that trick, and now they do. It's like you can't do a nothing front bike flip and win a contest these days.
No.
You could have it as one of your tricks, but if you want to win a best trick contest, you need to be like J2 doing like a whip in or a whip out. So it's cool to see tricks evolve, and basically that's just what I was trying to do back there, was just evolve BMX and
I think that's why you are a pioneer, and that's why you have been so dominant, and just, that way of thinking is just second to none, and, that's the secret to success.
Hopefully I inspired more people to be like that, because I'm intrigued to see what the next generation do.
We watched this live, and we couldn't figure out what you were thinking, what you were doing. That was the crazy thing. And I even went up there and looked down into it. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was huge. It was like 30 feet off the ground, but because we slowly worked up to there, I kind of just kept the confidence, and that's kind of what I needed to do that. But I don't know. I feel like there's things that we do that is harder than what that was, and they don't go as good. So it's like you land a new trick, and like I do a new trick on tour, and it's harder than what I just did there. I guess that just looks crazy and it's scarier.
Well, yeah,
So-
like the way it looked when we were there was that you were just gonna not make it. You were gonna die. You were gonna clip that sharp edge of the landing, which was the takeoff, and did. Personally, I went up there and looked at it and thought about, if I can do off the scissor lift into a landing, it's not much different into the takeoff, but just how skinny it was and the whole way it was set up. Dude, hats off to you on that one. That was crazy.
Yeah, let's just say that if I jumped too short, I probably would have chopped my leg off. If I jumped too far, I would have just splattered on the ground. So in that way, it was pretty gnarly.
Definitely threading the needle on that one.
What's he got for us? His first go around. Oh my God!
I mean, we already talked about this trick, but we can talk more about it because look at it. It's the craziest thing ever. I had people from all over BMX and all over different industries messaging me this exact clip. And then there's that one. We talked about both of these.
Yeah, the Free Willy.
Free Willy and the nothing front bike flip, front flip. Look
Yeah.
at your handlebars.
That's the only reason I actually knew that I was going to land it, is because it hit me in the face. Luckily on BMX, it didn't hit me in the face and I could manage to land it, but that also took me 1,000 tries. Instead of the scooter, took me about 60 tries. But
We've said it a bunch through this interaction that you're a pioneer. Those things would never exist without you. I couldn't think of anyone else doing anything like that. That was crazy. Where do you get these ideas from?
yeah, I don't know. It's just the evolution of my mind of BMX. It's like, what are people doing? And then what am I doing? And then how could I add something to it? And that's kind of where that comes from. Obviously, the first clip was the front flip, nothing front bike flip. And that was kind of, okay, well, sometimes when I do the bike flip, it actually goes away from me. So what would you do to chase it? You would almost like jump forward. So then it's like, okay, what if I did a front flip? Could it be possible to let the bike front flip and then grab it and then front flip as well? And honestly, it worked on scooter pretty well. But on scooter, I could like half do it. I could throw it halfway, grab it, throw it again. But on BMX, it had to be the whole rotation before I flipped. So it just evolved. Yep, I reckon that could happen. And lucky enough, I have our Willy Land to try that kind of thing.
Well, it never gets less impressive. I see it night after night, and the crowd erupts. The riders erupt. And when you land that, which is 98% of the time, it's absolutely phenomenal. It was definitely a highlight in the show. It's the pinnacle, and it's never not impressive.
Thanks, mate. But I don't know. I think your triple flip gives it a run for its money. But I'm glad that it works like as much as it does, because when I watched it myself, I'm like, yeah, it kind of doesn't really seem like it would work. But I've also taught my friend Dylan Devon how to do it. I've seen 2 other people do it now, so it's definitely doable, and it might be coming to like the next Olympics. Maybe someone will be doing it in their run.
The Olympics might have to make their ramps a little bit bigger.
Maybe.
Well, it's been awesome watching some of your clips. What's next for our Willy?
Man, I think just focus on X Games. I'd love to get 10 X Games gold medals. I'd love to beat the most watched Instagram reel again too. That'd be sweet. But just focus on our Willy Land, pushing action sports and seeing how far I can push it.
Well, again, you're a pioneer. Monster Energy, BMX, we're all so stoked to have you. We're glad you showed up and changed the sport for the better.